What is real love? Wow, that is a big question. Hi everyone, Mireille Nicole here, relationship coach, and in today's video, I'm going to talk about a huge question. What is real love? Now, I'm sure I could probably do like 20 videos on this topic, and there's no way I can fit every element of it in this video today. So I'm just going to touch on a few aspects of what is real love? Like, what is this love that so many of us desire and are looking for or are experiencing right now, or even looking at ways to make it even better. So I'm going to talk about it from my perspective. And if you know me by now, you'll know I'm a huge romantic. So the first thing I'll say about love is, to me, love is both a noun and a verb. And when I talk about the noun part, or I think about the noun part, I'm really referring to the whole feeling behind it, feeling love inside. And being a huge romantic, that is a huge part of it for me, the feeling. And a lot of people will try to confuse love and lust, or, try to label certain things as, oh, it's not really love, it's just lust. To me, lust is actually a part of love. And to me, I can't even picture having love without having part of it being lust, right? Having that aspect of lust in it. And for me, the lust is all that whole feeling part. So a lot of times people, and I've done this in the past, will write down that list of something we're looking for, or all the things we're looking for in a partner. And that's great. But you know what? At the end of the day, like, I've experienced situations where I've been with someone where they checked off all the items there that I had put there on that list, and I still didn't have necessarily that feeling of love that I truly desired, right? It didn't necessarily spark the emotions, because I'm sure you could find a ton of people who fit all that criteria you have on that list, but you don't feel those feelings of love towards that person. So I really believe when it comes to love, there's an aspect that's kind of mysterious too, right? It's more than just those characteristics you're looking for in someone, the looks, the hobbies, even the values. Like, I know in my relationship right now, there are things that we have different values on. And that doesn't mean we're not in love or we're not compatible. It's just that real love is a lot bigger than that. And I know this part of love is what can be very kind of frustrating for certain people, or if you're really looking for love still, that might sound hopeless, or like, how do you find this person that just brings these feelings inside of you? How do you find that or get that? It's not like when you're looking at a list and it's really obvious and they either have it or they don't. But when it comes to a feeling, it's something that's not really tangible, right? So you know what? Part of the beauty of love for me is that mystery behind it. And when it comes to, attracting that person, I have a few videos on that on my channel here talking about that. But that's really where you want to get into those feelings, right? If you want to attract that, you really have to get clear on that aspect of it too, and not just that list. It's going to be a nice balance of both of those aspects when it comes to the part of love that is a noun. Now, the other part of real love is going to be the action part. And this is when we talk about, to love someone. And what does that mean? And this to me is really when we're talking about the relationship skills. Like, to me, love involves communication, negotiation, conflict resolution. And that's not so much the romantic part, but you take that with the feelings part of real love, and together you have that beautiful package that really works together. So it's really, love is going to be working on bettering yourself, your own self-development, and how you communicate with the other person. It's also going to be about, understanding men, for example, right? Understanding what it is that they value, and then to love that person based on what it is that really fills their cup and what they're looking for and what they need to feel good and love and cherish in a relationship. And I have to say, one thing that I've noticed, even for myself, and especially in the women I work with, is that a lot of times when we don't have kind of that verb or action part of love, when we don't have those skills, or when we're struggling in that area, that can really impact our feelings and our emotions. So it kind of obstructs the first part of it that I talked about, right? So it's really a balance of the two. I was actually just talking to a woman today who, she was really, and this isn't so much the skills, but again, I'm thinking skills too in parts of the logical, rational side of love, right? She was really into her thoughts and her logical mind when it came to dating, and she met this guy, and at the beginning, she wasn't sure about him, and she had her criteria, and she wasn't sure if he fit there. And the more she dated him, the more she discovered, right, that those feelings were coming up inside of her. It's like that just from being in that relationship and working through the logical aspects and the verb part of love, she was able to see and uncover those feelings that were hidden off in the beginning. And I see this happen a lot of times just in relationships, right? Maybe you've been with someone a long time and, day-to-day life gets in the way and maybe your skills aren't too good together, right? And there starts getting like disagreement, more conflict, some resentment that's built up, judgment, even maybe contempt. And because you guys don't have the skills to work through it, again, that is hindering that feeling of love that you guys had between each other and probably still have, but it's just tucked inside of that, right? So the more, again, we can focus on this skills part of the whole equation of love, the more you can bring out those feelings again. So I'm a huge believer that if the feelings were there in the beginning, you can bring those back. You can reignite the flame when you have the right tools and the right understanding, or depending on your mindset, right, when it comes to what is real love, and even in terms of developing it with someone. I know for myself, I'm a big believer in like head over heels, and that's what I desired from my own relationship, but I've seen many women who have kind of developed those feelings over time because depending on your traumas and your attachments and everything you've experienced, maybe it's harder for you to kind of gauge those feelings. Maybe you're more guarded in the beginning. So it's always worth exploring, in my opinion. And also when I think back even to my relationship with my current husband, like the first time I saw him, now I look back and I'm like, it's love. But the first times I saw him, it was more like an intrigue or like, okay, who is this? So, it depends on how you label how you're feeling inside. But now, of course, I say, it was love at first sight, head over heels. But I know in the moment, in the beginning, it was more of an intrigue, more of a curiosity. So keep that in mind. And I'd say those two parts are what define the word, specifically love, in my opinion, real love, but there are all these other elements too. And I guess just in the interest of time with this video, and like I said, I could do many videos on different aspects of love and what it looks like and what you need for it. But the other one I think is really important to highlight here is the whole idea of acceptance. And when there's real love, there's going to be acceptance. So first, you're going to have those feelings, right? That undescribable, how do you even explain it, right? That mysterious romantic notion of love. And then there's going to be the action part and to love someone and actually use the skills and the tools and the techniques. And then there needs to come in a layer of acceptance, because at the end of the day, no one's going to be perfect. Not everything is going to maybe match exactly your vision, but you want to look at the bigger picture and all of it together. And I think acceptance is probably the most beautiful gift you can give to someone when you're in love with them, and to realize, there's going to be some things that might kind of drive you a little bit crazy sometimes, and that's going to be the same with you too. The more you can give another person acceptance when you love them, the more that you will also receive acceptance in return. And that's going to, again, just remove so much pressure from yourself and maybe some of those layers too that prevent you from feeling totally loved by someone else or in love with someone else, because maybe you have kind of insecurities or things holding you back. But the more you can give acceptance, the more you can also receive acceptance and solidify this whole notion of love that you desire. I know this is easier said than done, especially the skills part, or even maybe more especially the whole idea of finding someone that really gives you the goosebumps and the butterflies, and also acceptance, right? If you've been with someone a long time, it might be very difficult on some levels to accept the other person given some of your experiences together and maybe some conflict and built up resentment. But if you'd like any type of support with that, make sure to reach out to me. I have a coaching program designed for you, and you can find the application link in the description. If you have any questions, comments, leave them below. I'm curious, how do you define real love? What are some elements that you really look for when it comes to really determining if something is really love? Let me know in the comments. I'm curious to hear your thoughts on that. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you guys in the next video.